Prince Oberyn Martell, the Red Viper, versus Sir Gregor, the Mountain Clegane. This fight was built up quite a bit during the season, with Oberyn showing great interest in avenging the murder of his sister, Elia, which he blames on the Lannisters, at one point even exclaiming, "The Lannisters aren't the only ones who paid her debts." While this is some decent build-up for the fight, there was a lot of scenes in the book which was cut from the TV series that could have hyped up this fight even further. For example, right before the fight, Oberyn asked Tyrion to come with him to Dorne should he come out victorious against the Mountain. He implies that Dorne is considering crowning Myrcella Queen of the Seven Kingdoms, since by Dornish law, which allows women to rule, she is the rightful heir to the throne. This is treason and could result in full-out war between Dorne and the Lannisters and whomever allies with them. This conversation really does a good job at emphasizing just how much is at stake here. Not only the lives of the two coolest characters on the show, but thousands of lives could be lost as an indirect result of this battle. And it's a shame that the writers didn't choose to include it. A flashback depicting the murder of Elia Martell could also have been appropriate here, to really give viewers that visceral feeling of the atrocities that Oberyn is trying to avenge. However, until the most recent season, that was not the way that Game of Thrones did things. Anyways, Oberyn seems prepared for the fight. He intends to fight with light armor, no helmet and a spear, which implies that he's going to use agility and precision to counter the Mountain's heavy armor and massive sword. Considering their history and how much this fight means to Oberyn, it is reasonable to assume that Oberyn has developed this strategy specifically to fight against the Mountain. So Oberyn is well prepared for the fight. However, that makes it all the more strange that he would risk the fight by handicapping himself with alcohol. This means we have to assume that the alcohol is somehow necessary for Oberyn to fight. My best guess would be nerves. Oberyn's life has centered around avenging his sister for years, and now when he finally has the chance, despite not showing it on the surface, he is nervous, and he used the alcohol as a way to calm himself down. Oberyn starts the fight off by executing a spear routine. This may look cool, but it also serves a few more practical purposes. It's a warm-up as well as a taunt, and taunting is something that Oberyn will utilize a lot throughout the fight, chanting his Inigo Montoya-style mantra, "Elia Martell, you raped her, you murdered her, you killed her children." During the following part, it is obvious that Oberyn's taunting has gotten to the Mountain. He attacks furiously with massive swings, which is exactly what Oberyn wants, and the result speaks for itself. What follows here is quite strange. The Mountain continues with wild strikes that I think Oberyn could have easily countered. However, he chooses not to attack, instead merely doing some acrobatics, which makes the Mountain look like a fool. This may have been his intention though, considering that the Mountain is a kind of symbol for the Lannister, and therefore humiliating the Mountain is the same as humiliating the Lannisters. This was a bad idea, however. The Mountain is a fighting genius, and at this point he has seen enough to start adapting to Oberyn's style, and the following scene depicts that well. It is also worth noting that Oberyn commits a grave mistake here. Falling for the Mountain's bait, he momentarily gives up his precision-based strategy for a foolish all-out attack on the Mountain's heavy blade, for which he is awarded with a heavy kick to the leg. It is a bit strange that Oberyn falls for this taunt considering his skill, but it could be a result of the alcohol, or his rising anger. His chanting has been getting more and more emotional after all. Another short spear routine here, probably out of habit. At this point, the Mountain is dominating the battle, seeing through everything that Oberyn throws at him, and he is at the verge of winning. However, this happens. A boring, although shocking way for Oberyn to turn the fight. This was different in the book, however. There, Oberyn used a small shield to reflect the light of the sun into the eyes of the Mountain, allowing Oberyn to strike at the Mountain's unprotected armpit. It's too bad that this was not in the show, considering it's a way cooler way to turn the fight. Anyways, at this point the Mountain is wounded, and he needs to end the fight quickly or bleed out, and therefore he charges. It is also worth to note here that Oberyn is using a spear with a cutting edge, a so-called partisan. This allows him to attack the Mountain's calf with a slicing attack. This scene looked cool and provided a dramatic ending to the fight. However, the choreography was a bit off, and the Mountain started falling back before he was even hit by the spear. And that's the fight. Good fight overall, logical flow to the battle, with Oberyn dominating to start off with, since he had strategized well beforehand, and then the Mountain adapting well and dominating the second half of the fight. Too bad they had to go with the lame lucky blow rather than including the mirror trick though. And then they lived happily ever after. Or at least they would have, had this been any other show. But no, this is Game of Thrones. No, we can't have a good ending. No way, no. No, instead Oberyn dies, and then his wife goes home and kills his brother and his nephew. That's really Game of Thrones in a nutshell. The only happy moments really come when a character that you dislike dies. Luckily there's a lot of those. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you have a moment to spare, please leave a comment. They are what makes it worth making these kind of videos.